Hey guys, you ever feel like those around you are pressuring you for marriage and children? Well, this is for you.
Sometimes the app will fucking do that just because somebody else starts it. It's retarded. It was like, if you're not starting your own show, then you shouldn't have a show. So I'm not ready for that, girl. I'm good, chilling in my office. You already know. How are you? I'm alright. Could be better. Anxiety sucks. That's why I make you push through it. Yeah. Word. The room is getting warm. Our topic today, guys: the marriage and children curse. It's basically, we're gonna be talking about, the conforming, the societal pressures on getting married and having children, and how we are basically, how we're basically supposed to be staying home and have babies. Yeah, like when we're very young, we're taught that this is the end game. Like, this is what it has to be, and God forbid if it's not. People look at you like, what? So society's view on why marriage is important. They say because married men and women are healthier and live longer, they accumulate more money, their children are happier and tend to be more successful in life, and their overall benefit to society is significant. They say marriage actually originates from the Middle English, which was seen in 12,050 to the 1300. However, the ancient institution likely predates this date. The main goal of marriage earlier on was to act as an alliance between families. Most couples didn't marry because they were in love, but it was for economic liaisons. An arranged marriage. Right, yeah, stuff like that. You know how it started off. Mm-hmm. It was pretty much your parents put you together. And that was in a lot of different countries. Still happens to this day, actually. I think here too, right? I don't know about America and arranged marriages. I know that people from other countries still do arranged marriages in this country. Like, if you're from India, if you're from, I think they do it in China too. Like things like that. Mostly Asia. Most Asians are usually like the number one. I'm gonna start a whole family and support my whole household. Marriage. How does marriage affect society? These are textbook answers that I'm giving you. Marriage enhances an adult's ability to parent. Married people are more likely to give and receive support from their parents, and are more likely to consider their parents as means for possible support in case of emergency. Again, this is what we're brought up to be taught. So if I'm not married, my family does not support me. That is what that said. Our minds have been unwisely conditioned and set up this way. It's simply not true. Although many of us don't drive or desire for marriage or a romantic relationship, neither is a requirement for personal happiness or fulfillment. At least that's the way I see it. And I am well 100%. Over 30. How old are you, Kiara? I am 27. Okay. 20, so I just turned 27 in December. Nice. She's pushing 30. She's not married. She doesn't have children yet. Although I'm sure you get the question of when, right? Or I made sure that people stopped asking me that question. It's like growing up, my mom was like, when are you going to get married and move out of the house? When are you going to meet a nice boy? And I told her, when am I going to get my life together? When am I going to get a career? Because it's not guaranteed that man's going to stick around and help me raise this kid. I love that. I absolutely love that. And for those listening, clap it up, because that's real talk. For real.
I've always had the mindset of I need to make sure that I am good, because first of all, what man wants a woman who isn't taking care of herself, isn't standing on her own 2 feet? These are things that we have to do, and it just takes some women longer than others. Like, I just now am starting my business at the age of 27, and people are looking at me like I'm crazy. Like, they're like, isn't it a little late in the game? It's never too late to start your life.
Right. Absolutely. Hell yeah. I just started my business this Corona year. I
feel like a lot of people started business this year.
I need to do something for me. So I feel you. Look at that. Empowered women supporting each other. This is beautiful.
Yeah. Like, that's what I aim for. I always aim for women to bring each other up and, bring each other together, because people always want to tear us down, always want to say we need a man in our life somehow, which is not true. I literally do everything possible without men, because men do nothing but drive me insane sometimes. Women do too, but men do it in a special way.
Yeah, they do it in their own ways. And why don't you tell the listeners a little bit about yourself?
Hi, my name is Kiara. I'm 27 years old. I grew up in the Bronx. I still live in the Bronx.
New York?
Yep, all day, every day. This is where magic is made.
Many awesome people and celebrities have, born and bred.
Like, 2 of my favorites who came straight from the Bronx are Cardi B, as one of my favorite music artists, and one of my favorite actresses, Kerry Washington. And
nice.
To my recollection, Kerry Washington isn't married, or at least she doesn't publicize her relationship, if that's the case. And we all see what happens with Cardi B and her. Like, first of all, Cardi B was like the number one. She didn't have babies, nothing, until she was able to get famous, started her career, like, pushed forward. So she broke that stigma of you need a man, you need to be married. And then she got married because she wanted to. It was a want.
Nice. Okay, that's right. There you go.
Honestly, she planned out her life.
I was never, ever and I know because I've had a lot of female friends who have felt this way, but I was never the little girl who grew up thinking about what her wedding was going to be like and her dress and who she was going to marry. I was never that girl.
I was the complete opposite. I planned out my wedding. I planned out who was going to be in bridesmaids. I imagined my dad walking me down the aisle. I planned out, my whole wedding is planned. It's my honeymoon is planned too. It's a Disney cruise. I still also have to come up with.
There's nothing wrong with that. I was never that girl, and I know a lot of, and this is not nobody's fault either. This is what we're, just they mold us to feel this way because it's a society thing, the marriage and kids, like they said. And honestly, all that stuff that I shared with you guys, this is what they base marriage on, from the beginning of time or whenever, marriage started. But the reality is marriage today, of anything, divorce, actually, the number of divorces is way higher than people actually getting married. And people are different today. Children are growing up in broken. We also have to look
at why people are getting divorced.
Opposed to, the happy white picket fence lifestyle that is depicted in culture. It's not like that.
It is not. What people fail to always mention is how a relationship is 50-50. Sometimes it's 80-20. Like, if your partner's having a bad day, you got to pick up that slack. Just like any relationship, you got to put in the work for it. People imagine marriage to be, I live happily ever after. No, I live happily working for my relationship ever after.
Yeah, exactly. I'm gonna share a little here.
This person so I can work with a teammate for life. That's how I see marriage. That's how I see
that. Yeah, because I'm not opposed to marriage. This is not what this is about. I'm opposed to how society has made it a pressure. Like, okay, this is supposed to be your end game. You're supposed to be married by this age or have kids. Like, and honestly, I know a lot of other people feel the same way. Like, it shouldn't have to be that way.
I remember when I was younger, maybe like 16, yeah. 17, I thought that I would have a family, be married by the time I was 28. I made a deal with my first boyfriend that if I wasn't married by 28, we were going to find each other and, like, get married. That plan definitely doesn't exist anymore. I'm like, by 28, I want to, like, my business actually start going somewhere. That's my 1 year goal. Like, I have to start pushing for my business to move forward. The men in my life who come up, I tell them all the time, I'm like, I'm not focused on a relationship right now. I will keep you as a side option for later, though. Women have to start making power moves. We have to start moving forward and breaking that stigma of you have to get married by 30. Nowadays, we're seeing people who live up to like 100 years old, 112. And who's to say that this coronavirus vaccine won't like give us superpowers and make us live forever, right? So I plan for that forever. What am I going to do in all that time? How am I going to, make sure that the kids I bring into this world are set after I go? People want us to have a family and everything, but they don't think about how we're going to support that family. And they're not going to support my family. They ain't feeding my kids. They're not putting a roof over their head. Those probably the same individuals who would kick you out in the first second.
And I think those pressures make some people feel like, okay, oh my God, like my time's going to run out. I have to do this now. And then it'll be like, all right, a child is never a bad decision. It's a blessing, but it'll be at the fucked up time in your life, or, it'll be followed by a conundrum of bad situations because you felt pressured into doing this, I'm going to answer that message in a minute. Let me just share this with you guys. All right.
I'm choking on juicy juice over here. Excuse me.
You okay? Loving yourself, being happy alone. Loving yourself and being happy alone should be taught as important from a young age. Oftentimes, society teaches from youth that, the main goal in life is to get married and have children, which in my opinion is not good. Stable mental health needs to be seen and talked about as top priority for anyone and is key to making While connections, relationships, and love are major parts of life that are all definitely super important, you should learn to be happy with yourself and without those things. The relationship you have with you should be number one. The fact that finding love with someone else has always been more talked about than finding love within yourself is the reason why many relationships don't work out to begin with. Placing your happiness on another person is unhealthy. One person should not be your everything or what your whole life is about. And some people think that a good relationship and partner mean those things are true. The expectations we place on our partners for our relationships are often what make them so difficult. You and your relationship should exist as separate entities. These things should not be taught to kids, rather than making marriage seem like the only normal choice for a happy ending. And oftentimes, when people say they don't want to get married or have kids, they are not welcomed by welcoming responses. This harmful pressure to settle down is even more often directed towards women. They receive heavy questioning, right, for friends or family beginning at a young age. Do you have a boyfriend? Are you going to have kids soon? Are your guys going to get married? How do you feel when this happens to you, Kiara?
When what exactly happens to you? When people ask me all those questions?
Yeah. Right.
Usually I come up with some sarcastic answer because I'm a little rude sometimes. But I tell people, I'm like, I'm not looking for it. I remember at one point, my parents, both of them, were advocating for me to get a boyfriend. I think this was like 2 years ago. And it bugged me out because usually they tell me to stop dating. And so I took the time for myself. And they're like, why don't you get a boyfriend? I'm like, because I need to focus on myself. I realized that one of my main distractions my whole life was relationships and men. And anyone who actually personally knows me knows that when I was younger, I was probably in and out of relationships every 2 weeks because I believed in that whole, I'm going to get married and a man's going to take care of me and I'm going to be happy as long as I know how to take care of a household. Like, I have wifey skills because that's what I trained myself, because that's what I thought what life was going to be. And then after a while, I also realized that nowadays, and this is not to offend anyone, we're getting a lot more house husbands than we're getting housewives. And I can't deal with someone who isn't going to be like pushing themselves forward either. So I realized if I want a worker, I have to put out that energy of me being a worker, of me doing these things. Our families also wanted to attract, high-end individuals like doctors and lawyers, but we out here working like on I don't even know, like, what's the lowest form of job I can think of, I guess? I don't know, security?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. That was mean. You guys do a great job. Please don't stop protecting.
Some of the jobs pay really well. But yeah, I know what you mean. Like, fast food, just, not a career, just a job is where you...
Yeah, there you go. And, we have to, like... Okay, cool. Let's take some messages.
No. Finish. I'm sorry. I thought you were done.
I forgot my whole thought. So let's go to the message, because I've been wanting to see what the message says.
For real, man, that's some bullshit. My son's mom, her family's a fucking piece of shit. But she's good.
Okay. So there you go. There's another marital problem. The families,
Yes. I remember there was one relationship I was in. And this guy's mom, when I tell you he was a mama's boy, like, he wouldn't even be able to go out without permission. And mind you, he was 21. But I dated, and she was the one who asked me the most questions. Oh, are you planning to have kids one day? What are you going to name them? And the worst part was she tried to tell me what I was going to name my child. When I tell you I've never wanted to smack an older woman so bad for trying to tell me what I'm going to name my future child.
People don't notice when they do that. Okay. For the people unaware, when you are approaching someone about this subject, first of all, it's a sensitive subject. People may not want to say it or whatever, but just you being like, oh, so when you gonna have kids, or if you put a couple on the spot, when y'all gonna have kids, or when you're gonna get married, like, people don't generally like that. If you do, first of all, be cool enough with that person for them to be open about that subject. Secondly, if you ask them, be like, hey, what are your plans for your future? Do you see children or marriage in it? There's just ways to ask, not just be like condescending or fucking straight up. I say one of the biggest issues people have is that they don't know how to word things properly. Like, so even some of my friends, like some of my closest friends, they'll ask me a personal question, but sometimes the way they word it, I'll take offense to it. Let me paint a picture for people real quick. You don't want to just straight out ask someone if they're gonna have kids one day, especially if you don't know their background. So, like, here's a depressing picture for you guys. Maybe this is paint a reason why. What if you walk up to someone and let's say like a week or two ago they had a secret abortion, or maybe they had a miscarriage, right? And you meet them and you just like, so like, have you ever thought about kids? You're gonna make that person cry because they just went through a traumatic experience with children and you didn't know. Yeah.
So it's like, I don't know why people ask this on a rip.
I generally, just because I know that I don't, because every time I do get asked and the answer is no, is like, people look at you like, you got like 5 pimples on your nose or something. I don't know.
I must have put a dragon face on that same second. I'm just, I hear people say that.
Unfortunately, being a dope boy don't come with benefits.
What is this term, dope boy? I've heard it, but I've never like gotten a solid definition.
Hey, explain that.
I've heard the way I've heard it used in songs is usually it's some form of like florist. We'll go with the word florist for this.
Okay.
It's never been
that type of dope boy. That's to do with the subject. Right?
That's another thing, you guys. Just quick side note. One of my pet peeves, because she asked what things about me. One of my pet peeves is when males use social media to try and talk to you, and then they end up saying weird things, and you just question their existence and intellect right after. Think about what you say before you say it. I cannot stress that.
A drug dealer hitting the corner selling dope.
What does that have to do with the subject?
See, that's what I'm talking about. It's he mentioned one thing, and I understand where he was coming from on it. You know, he spoke about his difficulty with, I guess, his baby mom's family, if I remember correctly. And then he's like, a dope boy's life is hard. And I understand that. You know? And trust me, I know my fair share of dope boys too. And some of them, they go through hell and back for their family. Sometimes they go through hell and back for another person's family, and they be stressing. That's another reason why marriage is difficult. Because you're not only marrying that person, you're marrying where they came from, who they know.
Yeah.
The large commitment.
Yes.
That's like, why I'm like, I don't have to think it through.
It's a lot. And instead of these questions being normalized, we need to give young people room to explore what they want in life for themselves without so many societal pressures. This can relate to sexuality, occupation, or just wanting to figure out who you are alone before thinking of your future with somebody else. Some girls plan their weddings from a young age and know exactly how they want it to go. Others, however, don't want to get married at all or do it in a non-traditional way. No matter which one of these you identify with, as long as you are happy with your life, it's completely okay. If you don't even know what you want yet, then that should be fine too. That should be normal, especially considering how major these choices are. I'm going to play that.
Yeah.
Well, when I sent that message, we were talking about people having jobs.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah. See, there's so much going on. We got to start playing these messages like when they come in then, so we don't forget the topics.
No, yeah.
But, we're learning here with you guys. We improve on our experiences, and that's a thing. Like, we're not married with kids, so we can have the time to improve and know things and work on things, because we made that conscious decision on we weren't going to bring a child into this life struggling or marry a man and make him deal with our bullshit while we like go through our process, basically our process of creating ourselves, becoming ourselves. I feel like people don't really become themselves until they hit 30. They don't know who they are until they hit at least 30.
Yeah.
So how do you know who you want to be with? Like, how do you know who you want to be with if you don't even know who you are yet?
Right. That's an exceptional example right there. I mean, the feeling that you need to conform to certain standards is often that contributes to bad mental health too. The pressure to get married and have children makes many people who don't want those things feel like they aren't normal. It's not only parents teaching their children this, but something that is ingrained in all society. A lot of issues present in society are becoming more talked about, which is great. But this is an issue that people are often blind about and really relates to many things as well. No matter what areas of life you strive to succeed in, you and your mental health should be most important. Without happiness and content within yourself, every other area of your life is most likely to significantly be more difficult So I urge you to stop thinking and stop making other people feel that long-term committed relationship is what is needed to experience true happiness. Not everyone is the same, and not everyone's goals should be the same. True happiness can only come from within.
And I have. Oh, sorry.
No, it's okay. I just feel like a lot of people too that are serial daters, they have this problem because they have that confidence.
I'm a serial dater. I've been called this before. That's terrible.
Yeah, but you haven't been lately. You changed that. Remember, you chose you this time. So I
yes, that was a huge change. That's the whole thing. And that's another thing that looking for like marriage and stuff. That's how you end up pushing your kids into getting into bad relationships. When I was with my ex, I used to tell her daughter every day, "You're beautiful, you're smart," and I would make sure that instead of saying thank you, she responded with "I know," because sometimes men even think that just because they paid you a compliment, they owe you something. What people don't understand is that mentalities have changed over the years too. All of a sudden, it's about who can play the game best, and we out here we're too busy playing games to get serious.
Right.
So it's there's just so much that has gone wrong over how people raise their kids and raise them with mentalities. You also know that I am a huge mental health activist, right? Yeah, whatever the word is right now. Advocate. There you go. Advocate. I'm a huge mental health advocate because I go through my issues too, and that was a lot of what was brought up and what was put into my head. My mom used to always say, you're gonna meet Mr. Right one day. She used to always tell me to get pretty before bed because you'll meet the man of your dreams, and always relate something to a relationship. And then later on, I'm getting into relationships trying to find Mr. Right, and there's men doing nothing but tearing me down, trying to make me feel like all I need is them. And I was never going to be able to pursue a career of any kind as long as I was being tied down from such a young age too. I was like 18 when I found out that I had mental health issues, and I had to really look at who I am and what I want. And that alone is very difficult, especially at that age where you're becoming an adult, but you have to already start adulting to manage yourself.
Right. Because nobody else is going to do it.
But meanwhile, jumping in and out of relationships was not healthy because I'd be okay 1 second, still trying to figure myself out, and then deal with a heartbreak, so I paused my whole life.
Yeah. And you made it out. You're good. You're thinking clearer now. You're doing better. I'm happy for you.
I try really hard. You know,
for you, it's important things is meant for you.
Yeah. The important things are just to focus on what you want in life, how you're going to get there, and stick to it. That's it. Don't let anything distract you. As people can be like, you need a man, you need this. There have been a lot of my friends who try to set me up too, and I'm like, why? Why is that? Why are you setting me up? I don't like blind dates. I've been on bad blind dates, terrible blind dates. We don't do blind dates. Don't set up your friends. Oh man, we have another message.
Solias, if you're trying to leave a message, just hit that microphone button.
All right, real quick question though. So, what if making other people happy is what makes you happy?
That is a great question, because that is exactly what makes me happy. I was 5 years old when I said my life statement was to make the world happy.
There's a difference when you're in a relationship. You need to be happy and love within yourself. Otherwise, you doing for that person, it's still not gonna work, because you need to be right within you. Because those issues will arise later if you're not. Now, if you just want to be with someone and you want to make somebody happy, that's okay too. But still, there's something off about that. You know what I do when I want to make people happy?
Oh, sorry. You want to know what I do when I want to make people happy? I post up videos of myself doing stupid things because I know people are gonna laugh and smile. That's me making other people happy. That's me making a lot more than one person happy.
I have been
myself
one
happy
of
in the
them.
process.
I've been one of them, and it's true. You have a knack for that.
I was like, I used to do those things with my friends all the time, and my concern was not, I'm gonna find somebody. My concern was, what are my friends gonna do without my stupidity in their lives every day? And then I made a TikTok. But making someone happy doesn't mean that you have to be unhappy. I used to be that type of person in a relationship where I would sacrifice my whole being just to make sure that someone else around me is happy, because I can't, my energy would feel like it's disturbed and disrupted if someone wasn't happy around me. If I saw my significant other was upset for whatever reason, I would lower myself for that person. And eventually I grew up out of that. I was just like, why am I lowering myself for someone else
I feel what I'm saying,
when there are
because
better people who are looking?
I have as well. I feel you. And you learn.
Now, you met me in one of my bad relationships.
Yeah, I remember. I don't know what happened exactly, but I know that it was tough for you.
And 18 to 24 were tough years because I was trying to grow up mentally. And at 26, I decided I'm not going to do relationships anymore. I'll talk to people, I'll date around, but I'm not doing relationships. And honestly, it's worked out beautifully for me. I have a sense of clarity. I know how to take care of myself sexually, so I don't worry about someone else taking care of that. And I think that's another big thing. So
right.
people are focused on sex. Like, so many people
Clap it
are
up
focused
for
on sex. I was like, girl, I gotta take care of myself often, because it also helps me to keep my mind clear. If you're horny around someone, you're not really thinking all the time. You're gonna be like, oh, I want it now, and somehow mess yourself up along the way.
Definitely.
So I make sure I handle my mentality every now and then.
Unfortunately, Goddess, I'm gonna have to disagree with you. Like, I know I'm at the end of my time, so if I can make somebody else happy in the process, oh well, it's what it has to be.
Disagreeing is fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But I mean, for that specific situation, where I don't know your situation. Do you love yourself? Do you put yourself as a priority? Because when
does
you
the person that you're
love
making
yourself
miserable or
then you can love another person, healthily. You know what I mean?
I was gonna say, I'm like, is the other person that you're apparently making yourself miserable for worth it? Because we just finished discussing how you shouldn't lower yourself for any reason. And if you're gonna work on making someone happy, then at least make sure that it's someone who makes you happy too. That's the only advice that I want to give to you. I don't feel like anybody should ever be unhappy trying to make other people happy.
Yeah, that's the only thing I meant by that was that you should be happy as well. And if you're facing some type of medical issues, I apologize for that. I'm not really sure what you meant by, your time is limited.
Our prayers are out to you for whatever it is. That's all I can tell you.
For sure.
We wish you the best.
All right, Kiara, so share a little scoop with you that not a lot of people know about me. I'm going to share a little scoop with you that not a lot of people know about me.
Ooh, spill the tea.
This is why because, like I said, I was never the girl that was like, okay, I know what I want to, as far as my wedding and shit like that, but I was never against marriage. Now I'm just like, I really don't care for it. And the reason is because legally, I am married legally. I have not seen my husband or spoken to him in, I don't know, like 10 years. He basically abandoned me. But the whole thing is that the process of getting divorced is like the worst thing ever. And for something that wasn't worth it, I don't see the need to get into this ever again, you know, to have a paper that says lawfully that we're married. I have really no inclination to have that done ever again. And I feel like I shouldn't have the pressures of why haven't you? When that's just the way I see it because of my experience and just the reality of everybody wanting this piece of paper that is so easy to get into, yet so hard to get out of.
And that's a huge purpose of it. Like, the reason why they make it so difficult to get out of is you should have thought about, not you specifically, but whoever's getting married should definitely be thinking about it ahead of time. I know people who have gotten married in the first year of dating someone. Like, are you crazy? The first year of dating someone, you got married. Like, what? I understand that love is all in, but the first year, like, some things that are traditional should stay. Like, at least wait. My idea of a relationship is the first year is us really dating and getting to know each other. Maybe, like, after the first year, for some people, if they're moving fast, for me, it would be after 2 years. You know, you can move in together. Then maybe a year or so after that, discuss marriage. Because you don't know anybody until you live with them. And some people, they skip that whole living together step and jump straight into the marriage, and y'all end up getting fucked over, and it sucks. Yeah. Excuse my language.
No. This is uncensored here, girl.
This is uncensored. I try and stay censored, though. You never know who has kids listening, you know, or walking around. So
no, this app and my YouTube does not allow anyone under 18. So it was cool.
Ooh, I'm gonna curse all I want now.
Anyone who is subscribed to the societal notion that women aspire to marriage and motherhood will rank these duties near the top of their priorities. Anyone who believes that life should go in that particular order, such as college graduate, start a career, get married, purchase a home, start a family, they will have a difficult time accepting any deviations from that. But people want to make an quote-unquote honest woman out of you. They don't understand the dreams and goals that supersede walking down the aisle or having kids. When you're playing around with a business idea or traveling, you could convince someone, you know, it's just, I don't know. I'm tired of it.
I mean,
I feel like everybody should go with their own flow. That we should stop putting that into our children's heads. Let it be an option.
Believe that kids are going to think that college comes first before we're dating.
Yeah.
I want you're not allowed to get married until you can afford your own wedding. And no city hall weddings. I raise classy kids. No city hall wedding. You have to afford an actual wedding. That means you have to go to school, get a career, make money, and afford your wedding.
Yes. Kiara, you said your friend had a question. You want to share that?
But I don't know where it is. It's gone. I tried.
You forgot.
I'm like trying to find it. There's so much going on. But let's see.
All right,
is there anything else that we have left to really say about this topic right now?
I'm gonna bring it to a close now. If anybody doesn't have anything else to say, thank you for being here, Kiara. We should do this again sometime.
Definitely, I had fun.
Just thank you, everybody. It's your girl BMF Goddess. You already know. Tomorrow I'll upload it to YouTube. You guys have a good night. May the force be with you. Peace out.